And hello, everyone. Christopher Dillard here again in the community, really in the city of Greenville. So delighted to be on location here at a local place that I'm at. I won't say where it is, but here just to talk to another great leader in our community doing great things. And I'm pretty sure most of you probably have already heard this name. If you haven't heard the name, you certainly have seen his face on social media. Young fella doing great things in our community, and I just wanted to sit down and find out how it is this guy came to be who he is. And I had a mentor of mine, one who I look to as an elder, mention this guy to me. He said, you really need to sit down and have a little discussion, have a few words with this great guy. He's a young man, a leader, doing great things, and I'm so glad that my friend did mention him, because I'm already excited and delighted and in anticipation of what's going to take place in this interview today. And let me just, you know how I do. I like to pan in, man, and bring in this young brother here who we'll be talking to on this day. I'm not going to say if it's evening or morning. We don't know. But I'm so delighted to be talking to this author. He's an author. He's an entrepreneur. He's a husband. He's passionate. He's a passionate advocate for helping individuals reach the next level in their lives. Now, I don't know too many young people that are so concerned about others. You know, most of our young people are concerned about themselves. But anyway, we'll move on. Ladies and gentlemen, this day we are talking to Mr. Harry Dent III, my brother.
Hey,
my good brother,
man.
Just look at his hair, man. Look at it. See, some can do that, and some of us we just got what we got.
Oh man!
But man, it's a great honor to meet you on today, brother.
Man, it's such an honor to be able to sit down with you. You know, I've been following you ever since I saw your interview.
Oh
with
man,
April, man.
Yeah.
And I've just been blessed by the work you're doing. John Hope Bryan said something one time, and it grabbed my attention. We're sitting in a moment in history right now. And this thing is going to outlive us, and we're going to be able to have younger people and the next generation, the generation after that, look back on this moment that we're sitting in. So I thank you for the work you're doing and highlighting individuals. John Hope Bryan, he said something one time that grabbed my attention. He said, we're sitting in a moment in history.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because the next generation, the generation after that, will be able to look back over this and have something to edify them, something that they can see where people were already thinking about them. So a lot of what I do is I'm thinking about the next generation, the generation after that already in mind, and creating things that's going to be able to sustain them as they think about where they want to go and what they want to do. So I thank you for what you're doing in the community, highlighting these stories and really exploding the leaders and people who are doing wonderful things.
Appreciate you for that, and really, I just thank you, man. Tell the people how old you are.
28 years old.
28 years old, and already 29 in June, man. And you are already thinking about the next generation. You thinking about the people coming behind you already. You're thinking so in the future. You're thinking generationally. We just don't have young people like yourself to do that, man. It's just amazing. So you have come to author 2 books, not one as a 28-year-old man, but 2 books. How did that come to be where you were even able to sit down and just take a moment in time to even put yourself in a book, to write a book? How did that happen?
Man, I tell people all the time, it's truly a God thing. He instructed me, you know, biblically it says the steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his ways. So as I was sitting and thinking about what could I create to show others that it's possible, I tell people all the time, I didn't write my book for me. I wrote the book to show other people that it was possible, because I don't have crazy credentials. I don't have probably anything that some people would consider to be this outstanding and fabulous and marvelous story. But I had something to say. And I believe that everybody has a story inside of them. So the book is motivation to let people connected to me know that it's time for you to write your story. Because as we were talking about offline, you know, we don't tell our stories, then who's going to tell it?
Who's going to tell it? So was it intimidating to really actually sit down and say, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit down and I'm really going to put Now, which one was your first book? The 4-area reset? That was the first book. And then you wrote another book, How to Pass College.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah. That's
so the 4-area reset, and it says the blueprint for transforming mindsets and perspective, relationships, and finances.
Yeah.
That's a lot in one book, man. How in the world did
Man,
you come to do that?
so I was going through a season of my life, and I was asking God, what are 4 areas I need to focus on?
Yeah.
And He dropped those 4 areas inside of me. He said that, we always think about getting the bag and want money first.
Come on.
But there's steps that we need to take before we get to the money so that the money can start coming to us. So instead of us chasing the money starts chasing us.
Yeah.
So when I understood mindset, what are you thinking about? Growth mindset versus fixed mindset? Are you looking at challenges, or do you see opportunity? Your perspective, how you viewing things? Can you be grateful for things? Or are you looking at adversity and affliction and challenges as this terrible thing, or can you still find a positive moment even in those challenges seasons?
Yeah.
What are you doing with relationships? Do you have toxic relationships, things you need to cut off and let go, negativity always brewing in your life? Or do you have healthy, meaningful connection relationships that you can build with, sustain? Because I always tell people it's easy to start a relationship, but the work comes in maintaining the relationship.
You preaching good already.
Once we get to a place where we say, okay, collectively now we have this mindset that we have been transformed and renewed of our mind and not conforming to the patterns of this world.
Right.
And then we get to a perspective where we're able to seek ye first the kingdom and all of his righteousness. You see how it's coming out? And we're relational because iron sharpens iron as a person sharpens a person. Then we get to a place where we realize that he came to give us life and life more abundantly, and that we are hard work bringing a profit and mere talk leads to poverty, and understanding these dichotomies. So everything in the 4 area reset is biblical principle, but I had to learn how to write it in a factor where it could still enter the school systems and be able to elevate the next generation
without it sounding too preachy or sounding like another Bible. Because we know the school system is scared of stuff like that. So a person come up and they say, well, who is Harry Dent the third? What do you tell them? Man. When someone say, who is Harry Dent?
Man, truly a sinner covered by grace.
Wow.
Yep, a sinner covered by grace. I was listening to a song, Blessed and Highly Favored, and it was talking about it could have been me. It should have been me.
Come on.
It would have been me if it wasn't for the blood. And that hit me so hard when I heard that, because 2021, and this is how I even got back into college.
Yeah.
I witnessed 2 homeboys get locked up for attempted murder and 3 homeboys die to gun violence. And that really changed my whole perspective of life, because I was on the same path they were on. And I would start asking the question, why am I still here? I wasn't doing anything different from what they were doing.
Yeah.
But I started to later realize later on in life that God kept me here for a purpose. He had a mission, he had an assignment for me to be able to help and touch other people and to show other people what it's like to transparently be a public failure. And it was the most challenging season of my life. So I love to let people know you can't talk about this 2025 version without going back to the 2014 version of the kid who was scared and lost, didn't know what he was going to do after high school. The people without vision shall perish. I had no vision for my life, so I was steady perishing. And it was just that moment where I started to see all these people that were so close to me and connected to me losing their lives, to whether it was to the system or whether it was putting 6 feet under. And I started to realize that, man, I need to do something different in life, and I need to consult with God and see what that different looks like. Because I tried it my way. Many other plans of man, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. I started to realize his way would probably be a better way to go.
Your bio says, with experiences working across various industries, including business, entertainment, education, you're dedicated to empowering others to succeed both personally and professionally. So what would you say you do in the entertainment part of this? What's your entertainment? What's in the entertainment part of what you do?
My entertainment background comes from when I used to be a rapper.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
man.
I used to be a rapper when I was heavily in the world. And what I learned about rapping early on is there's a business side to it.
Sure.
So I am in contact with a lot of artists, and we have sit downs and do consultation on the fact that it's good that you guys have all of this talent, but do you understand contracts? Do you understand what an advance looks like?
Come on.
And it's a loan that you have to pay back, and that there's royalty percentages that come with that advance. So if there's a 90 to 10%, that they're getting 90% of the money and the work that you're putting in, and you're only getting 10%. And after you get your 10% and got to pay the advance back, you walk away with nothing. So being able to talk to that experience and talk to the things that I've learned, and also watch other people that I was connected to who had a little bit of a buzz in the industry, and having a conversation with the baby manager and meeting people at different events and having connections with them is always good to let artists know that when you're in the entertainment spectrum, just like in the athlete room, when you're in a spectrum of having all this talent, having all of this ability to have a gift to do something, you got to understand the legalities behind that as well.
So we sometimes we do not understand the business side of something. We can be all talented in the world. We can be as talented as we can be. We can be the best singer. We can be the best producer. But if we don't know business, that's where a lot of times we can end up failing, right? Yes, since you're a husband, man, you have how many kids now?
0 kids.
0 kids now, but you just recently were married. How many years married now?
Man, literally, we newlyweds.
Yeah,
literally 5 months.
Wow.
5 months, yep.
How's that working out?
It's beautiful, man. Marriage is a beautiful thing when it's done God's way.
Come on.
You know, and we were very intentional about premarital counseling. We're very big advocates for clinical counseling.
Yes.
And we are actually a part of a ministry that does marriage with some leaders. Shout out to Blast Ministry with Pastor Vincent Leslie and First Lady Artie Leslie. They are very intentional about the work they do with making sure couples have all of the tools that they need to be equipped for kingdom marriage and not just doing church marriage.
Yeah. Say that again. Say that again. You're a graduate of a local technical college here in the city, and you got your degree in human services. Now, tell me what do you do? What's your work? Having your degree in human services, what do you do in your day-to-day work now?
Absolutely, yeah. Human services. A lot of people get it confused with human resources.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. But human services is just essentially counseling, social work, and psychology mixed in one profession. And my day-to-day work consists of a lot of programming, case management, working with young people. I'm a teen center director at Pleasant Valley Connection Center. I also work with the Aspire program, which was formerly the African American Male Scholar Initiative at Greenville Tech. And that allows me to really see a broad scope of working with kids as early as kindergarten, with adults and first generation college students and the higher education realm. So I get to see a full spectrum of different worlds. I get to learn Greenville County school systems and see how we can make some more bridges and connections from that smooth transition from a high school to whether it's a community college or a 4-year college, and try to equip tools and resources to be able to advance the statistics of what we see going on with the level of people who are degreed from higher education. Because what we've found in higher education, Christopher, if I'm being honest, is a lot of people come but they don't finish.
Wow.
And I was one of those people.
Yeah.
So when I was able to come back, I was able to speak to the challenges and some of the things that caught me off track the first experience. And that's how the How to Pass College was birthed, because the lessons from a former failing student, I can't tell you about my success if I don't tell you about my failures.
Wow.
And I got to tell you where I fell short. I always heard somebody say, they had a quote about a mentor. They said, be very careful with a mentor who won't tell you about their failures and just make it seem like all they have is success.
Absolutely. And I was going to get to that, how really what it took for you to really turn yourself around, so to speak, from failing and taking the failures and making good with what happened, and still able to turn things around and benefit, and still now finish school and graduate. How did you come to do that? What did it take to really mentally get it and say, you know what, I know I failed before. I may have felt like a failure before. I may have been failing in school before, but I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to turn it around. How did you come to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the grace of God. the grace of God is so real.
Yeah.
God had to reveal to me that you're not a prisoner to your past. And I think if we're not careful, sometimes we never free ourselves out of this identity of feeling like, oh man, I could never be a college graduate. So I had to write the vision and make it plain.
Come on.
I started writing things down, started seeing my wife. She was a graduate of the same community college I went to. She already had a 4-year degree. She was pursuing nursing, and she was thriving.
Sure.
So the energy started to transfer to me and really give me that belief, and the life she spoke into me was able to push me. Another thing is, I always tell people the support system matters, and I'm also the counsel. There's good safety.
Say that.
So there was a place where people started pouring into me, and they started to see something in me that I never saw in myself.
Wow.
I'll never forget the day that somebody gave me an opportunity to speak to the masses at the college. So Miss Wendy Walden endorsed me, and because of her endorsement, I was the first student to ever speak to the faculty and staff of the college. And that opened the door for other students to come after me and speak. So that was probably one of my proudest and most favorable and memorable accomplishment at the college level.
Sure.
But what it did was it started to unlock something in me that said that just because something happened doesn't mean that it's the thing that's going to keep you trapped.
Right.
So when I think about how to pass college, it's truly the blueprint. You have to make a plan. You have to ask for help. And that's something that I see a lot of people struggle with is they suffer in silence. And I always learned that you should never suffer in silence, that even when we think about it from a spiritual level, that we have to confess, right? So once you confess and you get off the plate, then the enemy can't use it no more.
That's right.
So I learned that the most powerful moment of the movie 8 Mile with Eminem is when he told Papa Doc everything Papa Doc could say about him.
Wow.
So once you tell the enemy everything, like, I know I had a 1.2 GPA. I know I used to play around. I know I used to chase girls. I know I used to be on substance. I know I used to have all of these things going on. Once you start putting it out there and you realize that he can't use that weapon against you, now I know what no weapon that form against me shall prosper truly means. And now I start walking in the greater is he that's within me spirit. I start to realize that I have to stay focused in this season. Bad company corrupts good character. So you can't be connected to me in this season because you were connected to me in my failing season. And that's the reason why I saw myself falling down. It's funny how a lot of people will watch your downfall, but they get quiet when you start getting some success.
They won't say a thing to you. But let you be failing. I know I sound very Southern, but let you be failing, and everybody got something to say. But when you turn that thing around and you're prospering, you're accomplishing something, that's when it's crickets. People can't say anything to you. Brother, you're an inspiration.
Man,
you are an absolute inspiration. I'm so excited about your life, man, and just thank you for what you're going to do for all these young people that will see this. They're going to be inspired by this, and I had a question that was on my mind, and it'll come back to me. What is your greatest hope and dream, though? Let's go there. What is your greatest hope and dream for your life, for your career, for your family? What would you like to be in 10 years down the road? Where would you like to be?
Yeah, so one thing that I'm very proud of right now going on in Greenville County, a friend of mine, Justice Cox, my brother, he created something that's a hub central for a bunch of different partners that are just prominent youth leaders in this community who are doing some extraordinary work. And he's bringing all of us together to really amplify the voice. So now what I see within the next 10 years is a new heartbeat of leadership through young people. I see a revived momentum that's going to come, that's going to be able to really sit down with the elders and have conversations and have dialogue that's going to push the narrative even forward, that's going to continue the fire of the vision that a lot of visionaries have in this season. So when I think about that, I also see marriage getting a new image. I see God using my wife and I as a blueprint, as a foundation of what a kingdom marriage truly looks like. So it's a heavy responsibility, but I also see the hope. And that's one thing that I love to lead with. I love to lead with hope. I see service at an all-time high. I see more people walking in purpose. I see more people walking in their true identity. I see more leaders and less followers. I see more people discovering who they truly are, what they're supposed to really be doing. And I see bridges being built. I see entrepreneurship expanding. I see more home ownership expanding. I see more education equity expanding. I see more people having platforms to really speak and tell their stories. I see more books being written. So I just see a lot of unity coming together. And I think the biggest thing that I would love to see within the next 10 years It's less egos, less pride, less arrogance, less greed, and more love and more connection and more community building.
Wow, I love it, man. I love it. Wow, 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 wow. I never know where to go next because you keep putting me in a place, man. I can't even think because you certainly have ministry in you. So you certainly have the word in you, the word of God in you. Is there a call to minister, to preach one day? Because I certainly hear it in you.
You know, my dad tells me all the time that he already sees it. Multiple people around me tell me that they see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just believe that right now God just has me on an experience. I think really he is using me as an undercover agent. I go in a lot of places people wouldn't go, Chris, to be honest. I work with
you go to juvenile institutions where you serve. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I work with the juveniles, and they get a second chance to present to the court. And if they are in favor, the court will drop them of all the charges that they've committed. And when I think about that, I answer a lot of jail calls. I'm still in tune with a lot of things going on behind the wall and steady praying for those folks.
Sure.
And I really see myself in a way, in a light that says that it doesn't matter what your title is.
Come on.
That we all have a ministry anointing component inside of us. And if we could ever just surrender, fall to our knees, put our feet and our face posture on him, and truly focus and be intentional with that time. Our mutual friend that connected us, he's the reason that my prayer life went up. Because I was just telling him, man, I'm praying 2-3 times a day. He like, man, I'm praying 9-10 times, and I'm like, whoa, I got to step it up. I got to step it up. True. So when I learned that and discovered that, and I believe that's what God does, He continues to intentionally connect you with certain people to show you that there's even another level, and that's why my calling for the next level comes in, to really challenge people, get out of your comfort zone.
That's right.
To really remember what Lisa Nichols said, that comfort and growth can't exist on the same area. So once you understand that, you got to realize that if you want to continue to keep growing, you got to get uncomfortable in certain
to get uncomfortable. Wow. You mentioned John Hope Bryant earlier. Is he your favorite author, or do you have a favorite author? Who's your favorite writer? Is he your favorite writer?
I have multiple. John Hope Bryant, though, he is a person that I had the opportunity to actually meet at the last conference I was at in LA, the African American Male Education Network Development, and he got a copy of my book and signed my book.
Wow.
Yeah, he signed my book. I had his book, and we did like an exchange, and we were able to have a quick conversation. And I just love what he's doing overall, just the reconstruction and how he breaks down financial literacy and how important it is. I'm a big fan of the Dave Ramsey movement and some of the things they're doing around financial. Dr. Eric Thomas, he's the reason I got into motivational speaking. He was a representation to show me that it was possible, it was profitable. So he's a huge, huge person, and just his character, the way that he carries himself. And then just locally, man, I have a lot of great local authors. My pastor and mentor, Zachary Brewster, he's doing great things in the community. Angelo Kendrick is doing wonderful things in the community. Mr. Trent Shelton, he came down and spoke to our scholars, a former NFL player, and he just poured into us, shared a lot of things with me, and it's just crazy how sometimes, the power of the tongue, you can speak certain things. And I remember the first time I met Trent, and I was telling him how we were going to speak together, and then that opportunity came and presented itself. I remember how I was saying that I'm going to get a picture with John Hope Bryant, and I'm going to get him to get a copy of my book and sign my book. Yeah, I spoke that literally. And it happened. And it almost didn't happen. Because he got so busy after the thing, I started to just feel like, oh, well, it just wasn't supposed to be. Because I'm one of those people, like, if it's ordained, it's ordained.
Right.
And then literally the person that presented with me, he saw him at the front of the hotel, and he said, here's your moment. And I walked up to him and approached him, and it just happened like that. So I encourage everybody watching this to realize that there's power in the tongue. And one thing that I'm challenging a lot of people on in this season is to be careful that you don't abort your blessing by what you speak.
Wow.
So there's some things that God wants to birth outside of us, but if we're not careful of what we're saying, then we might cause an abortion before the blessing could even be born.
Simply because of our speech. We speaking the wrong things. Man, that's amazing, man. I tell you, I just really, I appreciate you so much, man. And just thank God for what you're doing for these young people in these juvenile centers and what you're doing here, serving in this school and just really giving your life. It seems you have really found your thing as a young man, and it's the gift of service. It's the gift of helps. You just seem like you're all about helping, using your life as a conduit. One of my favorite words. Uh, uh, for God to bless, for God to use. It just seems, and you do it so naturally. This is not anything false or fake, or I don't sense anything, crazy with you. I mean, it just seems so natural that you have given yourself to service, and that's amazing.
Yeah,
some people never find that.
Oh, wow.
And you're 28 and you have found a life of service.
Yeah, well,
that's amazing.
And there was a season of my life where I was finding myself just taking and being very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn through some very tough lessons that you just get nothing out of that. You can have all this money, you can have all this stuff, designer clothes, and
that's right,
feeling good, all the girls and stuff like that, but you miss that sense of fulfillment. I'll never forget Dr. George Fraser said something that grabbed my attention. He said, purpose is actually a very easy thing. And I was sitting there like, what do you mean? So there's so many people who say they don't know what their purpose is, and they're struggling with purpose. And he said, well, it's simply just being able to love, being able to serve, being able to love, being able to serve,
that is so good,
and adding value to people's life any chance, any moment that you get.
That's purpose. I have never heard that quote. Never heard that.
And when I heard him say that in the chair, I just sat there for a moment. I said, wow.
Amazing. Wow.
Purpose isn't about anything that we want. It's not about us. It's about our gifts, our talents, the things that we possess. Has nothing to do with us. It's to even when we think of the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense.
So
wow. That's amazing.
I'm
feeling
the John Hope Bryant.
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Feeling the John Hope Bryant quote all again, man. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right,
so I'm just so excited to see what God continues to do in Greenville County and just worldwide. I'm so grateful for all of the leaders that are doing incredible work in this community. I'm grateful for what you're doing, capturing stories and capturing times. I told you I discovered you with April, and April is just phenomenal. The way that me and her met, we met at a wedding and thought we would never see each other again. She was actually officiating the wedding. I was taking pictures. And I mean, literally, we started to see each other in all the spaces that we went to.
That is crazy.
And she just, incredible person. So,
man, we appreciate you, man. Just like I said, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's end on this right here. Someone walks up and gives you $10 million, and they say, I want you to make the world a better place with this. What's the first thing you do?
$10 million.
They give up. They say, if this is yours, you can do what you want with it. But I want you to make the world a better place with this $10 million. A man as yourself. We just talked about a man of service. Certainly doesn't seem like you're a selfish man, so we already know that you wouldn't take all of it. Of course, you take some for you, but what's the first thing you do?
I think the first thing I would do, I work with a member of the Bold Leadership Network, and I serve on the Greenville Tech Foundation board. I also serve on James Curtis Harkins Foundation board.
Yes.
Well, all of those things tie to creating equity in education. I definitely believe one of the things I would do first is create a fund where this foundation fund would be accessible to individuals in pursuit of higher education. When you think about financial aid, when you think about certain foundations, there's so many steps that people have to go through to get access to this money. I recently just found out today that some of these steps do not cover the summer tuition.
Wow.
So I would love to see a fully funded community foundation where people could get access to funding to fully just take the barrier of an education off of their plate,
mm-hmm.
and to be able to advance themselves.
Not even have to worry about the money.
Correct.
Just go get the education.
Right. Because it's usually, from everything that we're seeing day to day, pretty much in the top 3 for the barriers.
Yeah.
That could stop somebody from their pursuit of their degree.
Brother, you got a heart like I've never seen before, man. And this has just been a pleasure. If my boys are 11 and 14, and I love them with all my heart. My wife, we love them. They're miracle babies.
Wow.
And if they could grow up to be half of the man that I see sitting across from me right now, I would be happy.
Wow.
Yeah, you know.
And I truly believe they'll grow up to be
better. And I know they will, but I'm just saying what I see in you, the heart, your love for God, your love for your family, your love for people. That's what I want my boys to have. More than any other accomplishment they would want. If they could just have a heart like that, I'd be happy. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Blessings to you, man.
Same to you.
Oh, don't forget to go to the YouTube page, Christopher Dillard Media. Don't just go there, but hit the subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Harry Dent III, this great young man. And keep your eyes open, I'm telling you, because God is taking this young man places. As I always say at the end, this is Christopher Dillard, the Conduit in the Community Spotlight, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care.